My name is Brian Krogsgaard of Ledger Status, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT Podcast. I am Bunchu alongside my esteemed colleague and co-host Crypto Chamber. Chamber, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. I gotta tell you, I'm a little nervous today. We have a special guest on, and I want to say about 73% of me is extremely worried that you will leave me for him.
I can confidently say I am not nearly smart enough to do a podcast with Ledger.
No, but you could be his chamber.
Okay, I see how that goes. That could work out. So we have a very special guest. We have now just decided that we're going to put things out into the ether on the podcast and then manifest them ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Michael Nye, for that skill that we've learned. We told you on Monday that we wanted to have Ledger on, and we have manifested that for you. So you know him from Twitter, you know him from the Ledger Cast, and newly a new podcast, Tulips FM. Is that correct?
That's right.
Awesome. So welcome back, Ledger. We appreciate you taking some time out of the quarantined life that we are all living now with, I think you and Chamber got the little minions running around, huh?
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. I wish I could go back in time to the last time that I was on the show where we drafted Christmas movies. We were worried about altcoins. Bitcoin was probably in better shape. I don't really know. But life was more normal, that's for sure.
Yes.
And, I just want to go back and argue about whether or not
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Instead, we'll be finishing off the second half of our coronavirus.
Instead, we'll just be dying hard.
Yes, right.
I was going to say, are we going to die hard by Christmas is the question.
Look at you two. You know what? Now you're going to leave
darkness.
Me for there you go. So we wanted to have you on. Obviously, I would say you're one of the most knowledgeable and well-respected market people in our Twitter circles that we run with. So we wanted to have you come on. I know you've been pretty vocal on Twitter and on your own shows about what's going on in the market. I mean, Chamber and I will both agree, very much smarter than we are about the situation. So
I don't know. You don't know my average price on Bed Bath & Beyond.
I saw somebody tweet at you about tweet about Bed Bath & Beyond last night, and you you came in and you jumped in. You're like, no, you're wrong.
I mean,
and I assume it's just because you're trying to save it now.
Yeah, well, it turns out I cannot, in fact, provide the bid floor to prevent the price from going any lower. I don't have enough money to do that. But generally, people think stocks will just act the same as cryptocurrencies, but there is some inherent value, but psychology, momentum, things like that can make a stock do crazy things, just like any market. But it starts to get pretty baffling to me when a company has significantly more freely available dollars without significant debts than their entire market cap. So it's like,
wow.
I think the momentum took over there, and I'm on the wrong end of that stick, that's for sure.
So obviously we've been seeing a lot, going on with Bitcoin and crypto in the last couple days. But I would say we've been seeing equal pain, if not greater pain, in the stock market over the last week with all of our coronavirus concerns and lockdowns. I think we're seeing we hit a circuit breaker this afternoon, I believe. If
Yes.
I'm correct on that, which we're down another, 8%, 9%, 9.8% at the time of this recording. So the Dow is at 19,125, S&P 2299. So it's been brutal. What are your thoughts on, everything that's going on?
Man, my whole body hurts. Like, there's never been a more applicable name for any podcast about any market than the REKT podcast, because unless somebody just was all in short, then this thing has affected all markets, and I've been in awe, and not necessarily because we've gone down. Like, it's just the rapidity, like the absolute, stairs up, elevator down concept. This isn't like a elevator down. This is like a freaking bungee jump, just skyfall. And
yeah, I mean, we're looking at like 10% a day at this point.
yeah, it's
I was gonna say, it looks like 10% every time there's a Trump
press conference
at
this point. Yeah,
it's really our fourth week of major downfall, and we're down something like 32% on the S&P 500. We acted like the primary market areas, 200-day and 200-week moving averages. We basically just acted like they didn't exist.
Which is huge thing for. I mean, you're all about those 200s, so for them to just nuke them, that must have caused you some worry, severe worry, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, to me, it's a sign of several things. Now, for whatever it's worth, like, I pay attention to these markets, but I don't think anybody's an expert at anything right now.
Sure.
I've been paying attention to markets for a long time. I actually found a blog post of mine from 2010 talking about the 200-day moving average. And
you're going to have a 200-day moving average on yourself soon.
Yeah, seriously. And it's hard to comprehend, because we have an outright liquidity failure, and we're bazookaing trillions of dollars, and it's stunning to see what's happening, to see this market fail on all fronts in a month, and to see the entire economy come to a standstill. And yeah, so in Tulips, the podcast, that really the point is to talk about all markets, I just went on last night for about half an hour, just mesmerized by the fact that we just shut down everything, and we're throwing the gauntlet at it from a money printing scenario and everything else, and nothing will satisfy the market right now, because we were so leveraged. Institutional players were so leveraged, and we're just seeing this gigantic unwind at a pace that it's outpacing 2008. It's outpacing 1987. It is on pace, or maybe today, if you count it, maybe it's outpacing 1929. We are seeing beyond a generational event here in a span of time that is unprecedented, and an economic impact that is not a trickle or a grind, but an absolute halt. So everybody will remember this forever. And I'm stupidly trying to participate in it as a trader. And it's just stunning. I've had this retrace Trump chart for the S&P 500, just because I felt like a lot of what's been done in the market over the last few years was based on pumping stocks and not economic health.
Yep. I mean, I think I would say that you even saw that in some of his press conferences.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to bolster the market and be like,
the one on Friday
save
was
everybody,
basically
we're going to pump everything.
Circle jerk. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've had this retrace Trump chart that, back to the Trump election, takes us to 212 on the S&P. We're at 230 right now. And I thought that was maybe a scenario for the depths of a hard-hitting recession. And I don't know what percentage of the way there, but we're a long percentage of the way to that target. We're just really a few percent drawdown if you count it from the top. So if we're down 32% from the top, that would be like a 36 or 37% drop to retrace back to the election.
Yep, I saw something today, even with the Dow, that said basically where we were at today. I think we passed it. I saw 19.5 was around where it was when he got elected, and it is now retraced below that. So it's crazy, especially for the Trump
especially
stuff. Where
the impact of Boeing, I don't look at the Dow as much because the Dow is only 26 companies.
Sure.
And the impact from Boeing is going to heavily weigh on the Dow itself. So it doesn't look. It's back to, let's see here. I'm looking at the Dow right now. You're right. It's back to right after his election, but we've retraced from his inauguration on the Dow.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
Especially he's probably sitting there like in Trump in disbelief, I would say.
I like to tweet about top things and bottom things, and I don't know how many times I just looked at a Trump tweet in disbelief where he was pumping the stock market and thought, this is top things, but the 409k stuff, like, what are you doing? You're only up 50%, 60%, 80%. There was no really greater top thing than that one.
Well, what did he say? Didn't he say, like, if you're only at 50%, you're probably doing something wrong or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
My goodness.
That sounds a lot like a crypto tweet, though. It sounds a lot like every crypto influencer tweet I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's just also it's stunning. Like we were due, but were we due for a 30% drawdown in less than a month?
Right.
And talk about something that needed to happen on the chart, but you need a you need a fundamental event to kickstart it. Well, we got more than a kickstart.
Right.
This virus, it's not even like when we go to war, because it's an immediate impact. We just told everybody to go home.
Right.
We said, hey, screw you, economy.
And there's no timetable, really.
And honestly, if you look at the realistic timetables, what really spooked me is when Trump, because his brain goes straight to his mouth, and he mentioned July and August as potential time frames for having any kind of real reset. Yet when people talk about shutdowns, like locally in my area, people are talking about, we're shutting schools down for 2 weeks, but that's just 2 weeks and reassess. We could legitimately be spending through the summer in an economic shutdown, or into the summer, depending on if the effects of this virus carry over to warm months. Like they suspect it may still have effects in those warm months, and then it could
I believe
snap
Trump
back
said it just washes through. The flu will just wash through once it gets warmer, I believe is the technical
That's
term.
what he said too.
I don't
That's
really
what
know what
he
that
said
means.
I don't know what that means though.
And I'm not,
But
I'm not some medical person. I just know, like, I had to sit back and consider, like, okay, if we just shut down everything, we're talking potentially more than 50% of the economy being shut down. But then you add that contraction in economic productivity to the fact that we're leveraged. Well, I mean, you guys know what happens if you're levered on some margin long on Bitcoin. If you're levered up 3x and it goes down 50%, you're liquidated. You no longer have an account. Well, these corporations are all significantly levered. That's what we're seeing.
Are they all about to get the email?
What email are you talking about? I have no idea. As an American, I would never do such a thing and know what you're talking about whatsoever.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so we're seeing these balance sheets become completely unsustainable across the board, and it's just a matter of how big is the bailout going to be, and will it save their stocks too?
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of people bitching about the bailouts with companies that are doing buybacks and all of that stuff. So it's very interesting to see.
I think the populist rise out of this is going to be pretty extreme and warranted, to be quite honest. Like, why shouldn't it be?
Right.
But just what a shift, like, wow. Like, just unbelievable.
I mean, for how long it's going to last. I mean, my buddy in California messaged me last night. He said that they shut down their school till fall. They're not going back to school.
They're not even pretending.
Yeah, you see sports now in Europe that are supposed to start in, like the Kentucky Derby, that's in May. That got postponed.
All that stuff's finished.
EuroLeague that starts in June postponed, right? So you're starting to see things that are further out than what they're really saying that are happening, that are getting canceled. So I think a month to 6 week timetable is kind of short, So, I mean, they're talking about, I guess, this stimulus package, which could be, dropping helicopter money till October. You know what I mean? So that's a long timetable.
Yeah.
So where do you see this going? Is it going to be? Are we talking recession? Are we talking depression? Are we talking a V and up? Like, what do you think?
My hope was I wrote a thing, long ago, like 4 days ago, maybe 3. I can't remember.
Might as well be months now.
Maybe 7. I wrote something for my other business, which is in the web space, where a lot of people make software and stuff and do client work. I wrote about the rubber band recession, and I was afraid to say the word recession. And now it's like that's locked in. We have locked in recession, and scarily, I used the word depression for the first time. I think yesterday or the day before, because when we talk about this absolute grind to a halt of the entire economy, I hope that it's an overreaction so that it actually takes care of it, and then we can get back to some normal and we only have a recession. If we get forced into this consistent fight, then a depression is not out of the cards. Steve Mnuchin said in a private meeting with U.S. senators that he thought that unemployment could reach 20%.
I was just going to ask about that. Do you think 20% is 20% is Great Depression numbers, correct?
Yeah, I don't remember what the height was. Again, back in that article I wrote back in 2010 as we were recovering off the bottom from a stock perspective, but unemployment was still crap. Unemployment in the Great Recession was like 9 to 10%. And so if we're talking 20%, we're definitely into depressionary territory.
And it's happening already. I don't know if I know Chambers saw my tweet, but my wife got laid off on Monday from the virus already. So
awful.
Like, it's happening already. Like, I think I told her, don't worry. Someday this will be a badge of honor. You're probably the first person in America to get laid off from the coronavirus, or definitely in our state. Because
I think I heard a number that there's 26 million service workers in like the restaurant and bar industry alone.
Jeez, yeah,
and
all of
you got to imagine crazy. Half of them are gone. Just anyone working on the customer service side of the house.
Right. And then in New York City, they said today, Cuomo said people that are open, just even private businesses, are not allowed to, it's mandatory. They can't have more than 50% of their workers come into the office at a day. So you're at least now starting to severely cut hours to anything that is still open for people that, aren't going in or swapping off, things like that. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah. So 1933, we hit 24.9% unemployment.
Wow.
And the global GDP decline during the Great Depression was minus 26.7%. And I think that level of GDP decline is possible in the circumstance that this continues to make itself evident as something that we're dealing with for a year plus. I think we legitimately need a medicinal wonder drug to come through, particularly something that has immediate impact and immediate availability. And there's some hints of this type of stuff happening right now, but honestly, we don't know. And
Yep, 4 hours
fear,
ago you tweeted, "We need positive medical/treatment news."
Yeah, and right now in the market, we're unwinding so fast. I mean, we're down another 1 to 2% since we started talking. So it's this is an incredible unwind. We're seeing what I would personally consider incredible amounts of capitulation in the market right this moment. I'm guessing that we're about to hit a VIX intraday all-time high. We already closed at an all-time high at one point. On a daily basis. On a weekly basis, I think we might have closed. Or I don't think we've closed an all-time high. I can't remember. But it's the volatility in the market. We're anticipating just enormous swings, like 8% plus swings as a norm.
Yeah, that's insane. So, we've talked a lot about, the traditional market and just the climate of what's going on with the virus. What do you think impact this will have on, forget the entire crypto market, but even just Bitcoin? Like, where do you think this state of affairs will it help? Will it hurt? Will it be, is it off the table for a while for Bitcoin to see, any kind of, because I don't personally believe that, market goes down, Bitcoin goes up. I don't know if I buy that. So yeah, I'm interested to see what your take is.
It's a great question, and it's tough. I think that there's good evidence both for gold and for Bitcoin that peaks in volatility in the legacy market or the VIX also align with relative bottoms or maximum buying opportunity for both gold and Bitcoin. Josh Olszewicz, my podcast co-host, pointed it out on the Bitcoin chart, the alignment with more near-dated, VIX tops that we've had, like in 2015 and stuff, being bottoms for Bitcoin. Somebody sent me a chart the other day of gold, which dropped 34% during the global financial crisis in '08. People have been pointing that to a lot as a liquidity failure for gold because, people are unwinding. They got to sell their stuff that's profitable just to cover the stuff that they're wrecked on. And these institutions and stuff, they have to cover those margin calls. So they got to sell gold to pay for being smoked on the S&P or whatever. And when the VIX peaked was when the 34% decline peaked as well. So I think instead of looking for a 34% decline in gold, I'm going to get to Bitcoin. Instead of looking for that 34% decline, I would think, when is the VIX going to peak? Like, when are people done having to sell out of their positions? And what we're looking at today is engulfing yesterday's down move in the VIX, and we could see an all-time high in the VIX, which was at 95. We could see 100, 110. I don't know where the VIX stops. When it does, I think that will be a major buying opportunity for gold, and I hope for Bitcoin, but like we've said, we don't know how Bitcoin plays in this market. What we saw is essentially we took out every leveraged position by going down 45% in a day, and something like, what was it? If you count the 24-hour period, we went down maybe 60%, 55% in Bitcoin last week.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So we basically eliminated the BitMEX order book, and we're starting to see some liquidity come back into the market. It's possible we see some gyrations again if people did not learn their lesson in that, or if they're over leveraged still. It won't be, in my opinion, anything like what we just saw, because people were so leveraged. And I think that was the book clearing type of moment that then opens the way for opportunity. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to go down more. Y'all talked about turning on the regular buys at some point, right? And you're making a bet on Bitcoin that you think it has an opportunity to respond well as the market starts to decide, hey, what we're doing here in the legacy system is not working, and printing trillions of dollars to save these industries and doing all this stuff, like something's got to give here, and I don't trust this dollar. You see near term, you see something be like a deflationary, like a classical recession, like we think of with the financial crisis. As things start to settle down, the question is whether inflation will come. Inflation never really came. I mean, it did. We see like healthcare prices and education prices that got so high. But in the buying power of the dollar for everyday goods and services, we didn't really see inflation show up. So it's like we got away with one by printing a bunch of money in '08. Question is, can we offset?
Will you think we'll get it away with it this time?
I don't know, but either way, I feel like it's probably a scenario where you would want to seek exposure to gold and potentially some gold-like things, like other things that don't have
AKA
historical
Bitcoin.
correlations, aka Bitcoin, which statistically, Bitcoin has one of the most non-correlated relationships with legacy markets, even more so than gold historically. Now, if you look at the way Bitcoin moved in the past couple of weeks, it almost seemed like it was in lockstep with the legacy market. And if it doesn't decorrelate itself, it likes to do these near-term correlations sometimes. And I think institutions being part of Bitcoin trading, market making, I think that played into the meltdown that we saw. Like they just had to get money out of any random little market they were in because they had to go dump it into the markets where they were in serious trouble. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a big part of it. And I think that leaves us at a place of opportunity. Now, can I say that confidently? No. Like we went way lower than what my target was. Like I said very publicly, and what I was thinking is like, hey, 5,400 is our weekly 200-week moving average that has saved two bear markets. It was the 2015 bottom. We just rode it for a while. It was the double tap bottom of the early 2019, late 2018 bottom at 3K. That was a double tap on the 200-week moving average. Well, we just spiked below it by like $1,000 or $1,500, and now we're just like hovering right underneath it. So am I supposed to walk into this with great confidence? No. But depending on your tolerance for downside, I think the opportunity for upside is higher than I ever would have imagined, because it was hard for me to imagine a scenario like we now have where the confidence in the legacy system is so bad.
Right. Interesting. Chamber, what are your thoughts?
I have so many. So I guess we're underneath the 200, like you mentioned, where in the past we tapped it and kind of sprung from there. Being underneath it seems a bit more, a bit darker, a little bit of a darker timeline. As far as a bottom, I know Bunchu we were talking about the other day. His we called it the Bunchu bottom was about 3K. That's where he's opening.
By the way,
his...
Ledger, I referenced the Kang line for your fallen boys at Coin Talk.
I was talking to myself while I was listening to it because Jay and Aaron, they still exist.
They're still real people, right?
They're still real people. They're still watching things. I actually am in a chat with them and a couple other people where we still talk. They're just not doing the crypto podcast anymore. But
So are they still paying attention?
Yeah, they're still paying attention. The Kang line came up in that chat just the other day.
There you go. Look at that. So, see, they had at least 2 listeners out there.
Yeah, the Kang line is not. It's not the line in the sand for me. I feel like if you start dancing with lows, then you're going to break them. And I prefer some of these levels, like we've been talking about. Like, I don't. It's complicated, man, with Bitcoin. We are so over leveraged that the way we wick down, like whatever happens, we'll say it was technically perfect in the future, of course. But in the current, there's a hell of an amount of uncertainty. And, there's several days left in this current weekly candle. If we jump back up a couple $100, or say we go to like 6K, and we close definitively above that 200 week, that's buy dips to 5,400 type of territory. Continue to have confidence in that 200-week moving average because we basically we saved it on the weekly close because the prior week we worked our way back up to it, and then the very next week we got above it. If you're going to be a momentum trader, a trend trader, you have to determine what are your rules. And you won't always catch the bottom, you won't always do it perfect, but you want to look for opportunities where you have potential for gain. And therefore, if you're saying like, okay, I want to play Bitcoin relative to these long-term moving averages because I can't watch this crap every day, then I think looking at it in that type of way makes sense, to where you say, okay, well, we've retackled here. Maybe it's $500 or $800 more expensive than I could have bought, but
that's what I just said the other day, right, Chamber?
Yep.
Yeah. I choose to be a market participant because it maintains this type of level.
Interesting. Chamber, what do you think? We bored people enough with the market? Do we want to get to the bracket? You got any more questions?
I don't. I feel like the market, I don't know what to think. I don't think the market knows what it's doing just yet. I think hopefully we have a little bit more insight next week. I think after the weekly close, we'll have a bit more. Yeah, I think we'll have a bit more either.
I have a question
fear
for you guys.
Or confidence.
Are y'all dispirited by Bitcoin's move down, the 45-50% move down, or are you still basically in the same camp that you were? Like, you're okay, everything's fine.
I mean, correct me if I'm thinking wrongly here, but we had the big move 6 days ago. I think it was Thursday, right? It's Wednesday today. I think
it was Thursday.
I mean, realistically, we're sitting at 52, 5,300, where the rest of the markets I felt have done worse in that 6 day period.
Yes.
Wow. Oh yeah.
That makes me feel better. I think it makes me feel a little bit more confident with Bitcoin. I might be wrong. I might be thinking inappropriately there, but that's my feel. Obviously, the price is not what it was a month ago, but in comparison to the rest of the major markets in the world, I don't know. It seems okay.
You mean relative to the fact that oil just hit $20 a barrel?
$20.
Right, exactly. I have 5 barrels in my backyard right now.
You got $100.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about an inefficient store of value that you have thousands of pounds of a dark poisonous liquid.
Right. That's currently only worth $100.
Yeah. All right. I would say for me, I think that the big thing is, over these last couple years since that we've been in the market, I think my expectations have come to more realistic levels, right? Like 2017, it was $1 million Bitcoin, here we come, and now I think I've learned to temper my own expectations. So when you get something like we just saw, it shouldn't, I don't think, if it depends on why you're in Bitcoin, right? If you're in Bitcoin just for the trading aspect, then you're going to play this either way, both ways, all the time. If you're in it because you think that Bitcoin is, the future of money, nothing's changed. It's an opportunity for you to get it at levels that you couldn't in 2 years. You know what I mean? So I think, for me, I don't think it's going to rebound necessarily very quickly because I don't think the market as a whole, both crypto and legacy, are going to rebound very quickly. I think this thing is a long way from over, and before we see all-time highs or even 10,000 again, we probably have a couple weeks, couple months, at least. So I see it as an opportunity, just like you said, Ledge, but I'm not rushing to go all in at the moment. So I will probably be making little buys here and there, but it's an opportunity to accumulate more that I didn't think I would have at these levels. I thought it had passed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so many of us think like, oh, I'm going to do this 0.01 to 1 Bitcoin challenge, or I'm going to deposit 0.1 and turn it into a Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin or whatever. And we think so short term, and I think if you start to think, what are my opportunities over the next 10 years, 20 years, and what can I do if I act slowly, responsibly, try to preserve my capital, and I make high time frame moves where I'm trying to protect myself after big moves up, and I'm trying to average down during big moves down. And I don't need this money right now, but I want to secure a future that I can have additional wealth and buying power for my life, whatever you want to look at it as I get older, I feel like our opportunity for profit is more secured in that scenario, and it's a more responsible way to live because these, quick moves trying to get rich fast, whatever, you're much more likely to just lose everything than you are to gain wealth over time.
Yep. I think that's perfectly said and a good place to jump into the rest of our bracket. So, Ledger, did you see what we were doing with this bracket the other day, or do we need to run you through what we were doing?
No, I listened to the whole thing, and
I'm going to drop a copy of the live one in the Telegram so you can see it here.
Yeah,
1 sec,
I need the copy of who won because I was debating for myself between whether I thought touching people or hand sanitizer was tops. Yeah, so
right now, so we did. Yeah, we did our first two regions the other day, and again, this came from a sports blog at Corked Bats. So they put this out. I thought it was funny, so I was like, all right, let's talk about it. So regions were broke into cleaning and personal hygiene, things you miss, food and drink, and entertainment. So we did the cleaning and personal hygiene the other day. We did things you missed the other day. So now we have entertainment and food and drink, and it's coronavirus survival madness. So let's start with the food and drink, shall we?
Well, first of all, the other two in the final four are toilet paper ended up beating out hand sanitizer, which is a crime against humanity.
Well, I think our reasoning for toilet paper taking over hand sanitizer was just the overall value, not necessarily the utility of it, but the fact that you could probably trade it for better things.
Yeah, now you get 1 Bitcoin equals 1 roll.
Right, exactly.
Is what we're dealing with at this point. So we went with the social currency that we thought we could get more out of, and then
personal contact, which was very sweet of you guys.
Yes, we miss touching our loved ones, or just Chamber misses touching strangers at the post office.
I do.
All right, so number one, the number one seed in food or drink. So let's see, we now have 3 people here, so we need a consensus vote to move on. Number 1 seed beer takes on number 16 seed bagels. What do you think, Chamber?
I'm not a huge drinker, but I'm not a huge bagel guy. So I think beer. And again, that probably has some social value to it as well. You could probably trade some beers for some handguns or something, I'm sure.
Ledger, what do you got?
Man, I gave up alcohol for Lent, and it was the worst possible year to do it.
Yep.
I've never wanted a beer more in my life, so I'm going with beer.
I'm also gonna go with beer. So I mean, I'm a big beer guy. I feel like you need something to keep your sanity. Get yourself pass the time. We're all gonna become alcoholics after this.
First, I gotta touch on this, Brian. You said you gave it up for Lent. I drove by a church yesterday. It says closed until further noticed. Yeah. I feel like I feel the good Lord will, look down upon you and say, you know what? Coronavirus is your Lent this year. You can have a beer.
I saw a tweet. I don't know who it was from, but it said, I didn't think I was giving up quite this much for Lent.
Right.
Yeah.
So beer is the winner there.
Everybody. Here you go, Chamber. The 8-9 seed, 8 seed Pop-Tarts takes on 9 seed hard liquor. You had a tweet about Pop-Tarts the other day.
I did. I didn't even see this. This is terrific. So yeah, yesterday I was at the grocery store picking up some essentials, aka Pop-Tarts. My daughter had never had one before, so I got her some chocolate ones and I got some strawberry ones. And we were talking, and she wanted one after dinner, and I said, do you want it toasted or not toasted? I said, I prefer not toasted, and she said, okay, let's do it that way. So she had it, and then my wife looked at me like I was, a savage, but yeah, she said, obviously you have to toast them, and I said, well, let me ask Twitter, they'll be able to tell us,
and I gave the only right answer.
You got resoundingly ratioed on this, right?
I sure did, as per usual. That's no that's no surprise for me. But yeah,
The right answer is both, by the way.
The answer is 100% both. I will go both. I prefer, a Pop-Tart for a quick snack. You grab it out of the pantry, you hide in your office, and you eat it without anybody knowing. You don't need to toast that.
So the question is, are you taking Pop-Tarts or hard liquor?
Pop-Tarts. If you would ask me 2 days ago, it would have been hard liquor, but I just had a Pop-Tart today for the first time in a while, and it was delicious. So yeah,
Ledge,
Pop-Tarts.
what are you getting?
Man, I think I gotta go Pop-Tarts too. I really like those ones with the plastic stuff on the top, like the spread.
It's delicious.
On the strawberry Pop-Tarts. But
Oh, you're talking like the toaster strudel kind?
No, the ones with like they're
it's like it's icing,
creamy sprinkle icing
yes.
on top, but it's like a hard plastic basically.
Like the cinnamon, like the brown sugar one has that.
It's glorious.
Yeah.
All of them have it. The strawberry ones and the blueberry.
So good.
Freaking great. So I'm going Pop-Tarts.
So that's the winner. I actually am also going to go Pop-Tarts because I got beer in the first round, and beer is definitely my alcoholic beverage of choice. So I'm satisfied there. I'll take Pop-Tarts over hard liquor.
I love a quality old fashioned, but I'd probably be dead in an hour. I drink them so fast right now.
Right. In quarantine, you'd be toast. So number 5, whoa, this is a tough matchup. Number 5 seed wine takes on number 12 seed ice cream. What do you got, Ledge?
Quality 5-12 matchup where there's typically an upset, and I am going with ice cream. Like ever since we had kids, my wife was always jonesing ice cream for desserts, and I don't think I could do without because even once we had our kids, the ice cream stuck.
One of our essential things for quarantine was to make sure that we had pints of Halo Top ice cream. So our freezer is full of ice cream. I will be going with that as well. Chamber?
I was good either way. I'm a big wine drinker, but I do love ice cream. Same with you, Ledge. Since I had kids, there just seems to be ice cream in the fridge all the time now.
I guess I'm just a giant kid. I guess.
Oh, but you're just gonna love it. If and when you have kids, man, you're gonna love it. It's pretty great. You can eat Pop-Tarts and ice cream.
I'm having a quarantine baby. That's definitely
100%. December, January, here comes.
All right, so we got ice cream, a 12 seed upset. All right, now a 4 seed milk takes on 13 seed soup. I think this is actually very interesting. From a survival standpoint, the soup is definitely, like you're thinking canned soup, that's going to last longest. But we did buy milk. We've been having cereal in the mornings for breakfast. But if you're just going to for length of quarantine, I'm going to go soup. Also, I'm just a big soup guy in general. I could probably eat soup for every meal if I wanted to, if I had to. Chamber, what do you think?
I'm with you. I think soup, I think it lasts longer. I think that's one of the last things you're going to have if, you go full Walking Dead. Cans of soup are, you could use it as a weapon. There's milk. You can have it with cereal. But you're right. It's not going to last very long. But yeah, I'd say that. And plus with soup, there's so many varieties you can get.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Including milk soup.
Including
cream-based soups.
Exactly.
Never heard of cream-based soup called milk soup.
Milk soup. Oh, you're not
Only here on REKT Podcast, my friend. Hashtag milk soup is one of the episode hashtags. Ledger, what would you have picked in this scenario? Soup is the winner, but what do you got?
Soup as projectile weapon was interesting, but milk has my heart for sure. So you got to get the organic kind that lasts more than a month, and then I feel like some good fresh milk would be awesome value on the secondary market.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well,
that being said, though, we're gonna have a bunch of
2-1 soup.
I still lose.
We're gonna have a bunch of pregnant women, though, is all I'm saying, and we could probably make our own human milk.
Come on, that is awful. No, you are banned. That's it. You're banned from the show.
All right, I'm just throwing it out there.
All right, so soup's gonna take that one. Number 6 seed coffee takes on 11 seed orange juice. We'll start with Ledger.
Not even close. Coffee all day, every day. I survive on it. It is my beverage of any moment if I lose coffee during this quarantine, I am totally screwed.
Chamber?
I think I have a colleague and cohort in Ledger, 100%. I'm looking at this list. I can't see how coffee's not going all the way to the front of the line on this one.
Coffee's honestly a 1 seed in this category for me.
It's interesting. So I'm going to go I love good orange juice. I really do. But it's for quarantine life, it's got to be coffee as well. So straight blowout. Wow.
I wouldn't even say orange juice is the top 3 juice. How about that?
Oh, come on. Hold on. This is a debate for a different show because we do not have the time for this, but I will come at you with orange juice, not top 3 juice. We're ranking our top 5 juices on the next show.
Fair enough.
Okay. So, number 3, this is interesting. Ramen versus 14 seed tea. It's interesting to see the gap of seeds between coffee and tea. Mm-hmm. You got an 8 seed gap there. Let's go Chamber first this time.
I just had a delicious bowl of ramen for lunch. It was very spicy.
Because you've lost all your money in the markets.
Well, no, it's because
I tried to ramen.
I actually tried to game the system. I don't know if I talked about this last time, but I went to a Chinese grocery store,
did, yes.
and to try to circumvent the system and say, hey, the Chinese food grocery store probably has a ton of toilet paper, which it didn't, but it did have a ton of international ramen that I couldn't get at my typical grocery store, and ended up getting a super spicy
I saw that
pack. It was very hot, but very delicious. I also feel once you're done, I mean, you get you got a little ramen tea at the bottom.
Yeah, ramen juice.
I mean, I'm going
ramen soup.
Right, I'm going ramen.
Milk soup.
Yeah, I think ramen's the way to go.
Ledge?
I'm going tea, quality coffee backup in time of emergency. I'm going to be super sick of ramen and noodles and rice and crap by the end of all this.
Oh, man. So I'm the deciding vote here, huh?
I feel like you're not a tea guy. How about that?
I'm not a huge tea guy. Man, I think ramen's got the utility here.
Yeah,
we already have coffee moved on. I'm going to go with ramen. Because, the worst case scenario is tea versus coffee in the second round. So I think that would be a blowout. So I'm going with ramen in this round. So ramen will go up against coffee. So ramen moves on. What do we got here? The 7-10 matchup. 7 DiGiorno or 10 Wheat Thins. I'll give Ledger the first go on this one.
I'm going anti-DiGiorno because I feel like we need to support our local businesses who can deliver, and DiGiorno advertises themselves as not delivery. It's
not
DiGiorno.
Delivery.
So I'm supporting the local pizza franchises, and I'm picking Wheat Thins as a quality snack.
Interesting. All right, Chamber?
Oh, shit. I thought I was mistaken with what Wheat Thins were. I now understand that Wheat Thins are the cracker. What are the...
what did you think they were?
What's the cereal?
Wheaties. Or Frosted Mini Wheats.
Frosted Mini Wheats. That's what I thought it was. Okay, yeah. Shit. Crackers. Okay, it's Wheat Thins. I'm with Ledger though. DiGiorno costs what, like $6-7 at the grocery store? Mm-hmm. I feel like a walk-in special is also like $5 or $6 at my local pizzeria. And it's a good pizza. So
you're going Wheat Thins.
I gotta go Wheat Thins.
All right. I would have went DiGiorno. Aside from the supporting local businesses point, which is good point, enough to sway me. Let's go 3-0 Wheat Thins.
He FOMO'd Wheat Thins.
I FOMO'd Wheat Thins. I've bought the top on Wheat Thins. All right, so we got the final matchup for this first round here, and then it goes a little quicker. 2 seed bread versus 15 seed Gatorade. Chamber, you go first.
I mean, my wife made me buy Gatorade while I was at the grocery store the other day. I have no idea why. So I have a case of it in my basement. I hate Gatorade, not since I played sports in like high school and stuff. I got to go bread. I mean, toast, there's multiple utility for bread. I'm a big
Gatorade guy. I think in case you do get sick, you'll need to replenish those electrolytes.
That's what she said, yeah.
You'll need to replenish those electrolytes. So I'm going to go Gatorade, and I'll leave the deciding vote to Ledger.
Yeah, this one's super easy. Sorry. My wife got really into sourdough, which you use to make your own bread and stuff. And if you can survive on anything, all you really need is flour and water and your sourdough starter, and you're good to go. And it's the best bread you can possibly have. And so bread's an easy winner here for me.
Bread's the easy winner. All right. So I kind of knew that was going to happen, so I went with the Gatorade personal choice there. But I do think bread has probably more utility. All right. So second round of this, we're going back up top. We got beer versus Pop-Tarts. Ledger, what do you got?
Beer.
Okay. Chamber?
I agree, beer. I think that's the way to go.
I'm going beer too. All right. So then you got number 12 ice cream versus number 13 soup,
Wow,
including milk soups.
A 12-13 match?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
I know. Ledger, what do you got?
If you let your ice cream melt, it is a soup, and it's actually a milk soup. I'm just going to say that.
That's milk
Full
soup.
Full circle.
So, I'm all in on ice cream.
Awesome. I will choose ice cream too. Chamber?
See, I think the move. It's obviously we're gonna go with ice cream, but I think I would have went soup. I think
The buck stops with ice cream on that one for you?
Yeah, I think soup is the way to go after that.
I'm moving on. I'm moving soup on for sure, or ice cream for sure. I actually was double sold on the milk soup idea. So, all right, the 6-seed coffee versus 3-seed ramen.
Now that's
Chamber, you go first.
That's a matchup for the ages, but I'm gonna go coffee.
I will go coffee as well, and it sounds like Ledger would also do coffee.
Absolutely,
right?
coffee. Coffee sandbagged hard to get this 6th rank.
Yeah, no kidding. They must have tanked their conference.
They heard milk soup was in the running, so they needed a good spot.
All right, then we got number 10 wheat thins versus number 2 bread. I feel like this is an easy one. I'm going bread.
Yeah,
of course.
I agree.
Okay,
Big wheat thins out of bread.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
you can get like 7-8 wheat thins out of one piece of bread.
Well, right, that's what I mean. Just get wheat bread, let it get stale. Now you got wheat thins.
Yeah.
All right, so then you got now. Oh, this is tough. Ice cream versus beer. Ledger.
I'm still going beer, guys.
Chamber.
You know what? I'm going. I had ice cream
going to
out.
Switch back. Huh?
I'm going back to ice cream.
Hey, look, this is a matchup-based game. You got to play the matchup.
Absolutely.
You said you're not a
team
big
that's in
beer
front of
drinker,
you.
so it makes sense.
Yeah. I definitely like ice cream more than beer.
All right, so I'm the tying vote, but it's going to be beer for me.
Those are like your two favorite things, I think.
Yeah, I know. They really are. It's probably what I have most of in my house at the moment for stock.
And plus, wine and liquor are out, so beer is
right. Exactly. So you got to keep that one in.
That's a good point.
Yep. So then we have coffee versus. Ooh, this is tough. Coffee versus bread.
Oof.
I'm gonna go Ledger first because I have a feeling I know where he's going.
Yeah, I love bread, but I'd die without coffee. So gotta go coffee.
Chamber.
I'm with him. I got to go coffee. I've had like 4 cups of coffee at least today.
All right, so coffee advances. I will also choose coffee. Now, for the matchup, the Elite 8 matchup to get to the Final Four, beer versus coffee. I will go with Chamber first.
Well, we are going into summertime, so I could see why beer would be a good pick, just because it's a nice cool beverage. But if coronavirus goes into the fall and winter months, I think coffee is the way to go. Again, I'm a bigger coffee fan than beer fan, but I think coffee's the way to go. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna make this interesting. I'm gonna go beer, and I'll leave the deciding vote to Ledger.
I did not know that my Lenten activity of giving up beer would become a factor in this podcast today. But I've been without alcohol since February 26th. I can make it through the coronavirus situation as well, and I gotta go coffee because
coffee moving on from the food and drink bracket as a 6 seed.
Seed. Wow.
Well done, coffee. Look, they're a Cinderella story.
1 second here. So we have TP as a 2 seed in. What was human contact?
3 seed.
3 seed, and now we have a 6 seed. That's terrific.
Yeah. So just like most March Madness tournaments, not a lot of 1 seeds left around. So we're going to the entertainment bracket for our final 4. We've got, and we might as well finish out the bracket, right?
Yeah,
the whole
absolutely.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So number 1, this is entertainment. Number 1, Netflix versus 16 doing your taxes. Should we just? I feel like Ledger's going to pick taxes.
Why would I pick taxes? I'm a self-employed business owner. I loathe doing taxes. That's the best thing about this virus is they put a delay on that.
Yeah, that's true. July, right? I think. Yeah. So, all right. Netflix, easy winner, right?
Easy winner.
Okay. Oh, this is tough. Number 8 seed, Napping versus number 9 seed, Twitter. Ledger, you go first.
Does this insinuate that we're consuming less Twitter because of virus stuff?
No. So the only one that is things that you don't get anymore is, I guess, the things you miss bracket. So,
I see,
yeah.
I see.
You mean if we choose Napping, we're getting less Twitter?
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't have Twitter.
I choose Napping because if I could get over my addiction of Twitter, then I would have more time for naps. Sounds great. Win-win.
I have a feeling Chambers going Twitter.
I feel like I'm going to get screwed on this one because I hate napping.
Oh, man.
Love Twitter. It's 100% Twitter for me. It's not even close. But I also feel that Bunchu, I'm not sure. You've been loving Twitter a little less, I feel, lately. But
I don't know if you've noticed, but since quarantine,
you have been tweeting a little bit more.
Social distancing, yes. I have been all about Twitter again. So it has been my Twitter revival, I would say. So I think I'm going with Twitter.
Wow.
I've been addicted in the sense, or like so much so that I've been getting yelled at from my wife. So like my Twitter addiction is back in full force. So this is the best news I could have heard of. It's a really shitty matchup for me because Napping probably wins on any other matchup in this bracket here. All right. So number 5 seed. I feel like this is the only one where the 12 seed wasn't as strong as the other ones.
Yeah.
Number 5 seed, Cable Television versus number 12 seed, Taking a Walk Alone. Chamber?
Cable television, that includes HBO, all that fun stuff, right? Or is that just network television? I think cable television's HBO.
Cable, I was thinking like the CNN and TBS.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But it would be cable. I mean, it is cable. You can't get those without
network TV I can go without. Your NBCs, your ABCs, your CBSs. That's
right.
fine. Get rid of that.
I think HBO is a tricky one because now you can HBO
Premium. You can HBO Go.
You can HBO Go. Versus, I'm taking cable television regardless, even if it's just CNN and Fox News and all that shit. Taking a walk alone, no thanks.
Interesting. I'm also going cable TV. So is that a clean sweep? Or?
Nope. I want to take a walk. Screw you.
Nice. All right. So taking a walk alone for Ledger. We're going to go, but cable TV moves on. Number 4 seed Instagram versus 13 seed TikTok. Chamber?
I got to tell you, I'm not a big Instagram guy. My wife, I make fun of her for being on TikTok all the time. I always tell her she's the oldest person on TikTok. It's funny. Occasionally she will show me something that's pretty funny, so I'll take TikTok over Instagram. And also Michael Nye is on TikTok, so
that's where I was going with that.
Bunchy, let me make you the tiebreaker because screw TikTok. I hate TikTok. It's a China surveillance scam. And it's the most ridiculous Zoomer thing I've ever seen in my life. So I'm easily going Instagram. I'll take food photos and keeping up with my extended family every day of the week.
Okay. The big draw of TikTok to me is the Michael Nye rap videos.
They're so good.
However,
but you can get them through Inverse Bra's Twitter.
Yes, you can get them through Twitter.
Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know.
You can get them through Twitter, and we've already moved Twitter on over Napping. I will take Instagram as well.
Got to do it for the gram. I got it.
Yeah, we're doing it for the gram. All right, number 6, books versus 11 seed playing cards. Ooh, tough matchup. Ledger, you go first.
This is a tough matchup, but I'm a big reader. It's one of the only ways I can escape thinking about all the other terrible crap in life. So absolutely going books. I love a good fiction series.
Awesome.
Shit. This is a tough one. Does it include audiobooks too? Because I do love a good audiobook.
I'd say absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, besides podcasts, I definitely listen to a ton of audiobooks. Shit, but playing cards, man. There's nothing more fun than playing cards. You know, if you have your family with you, play a little euchre, play a little...
Oh, euchre is good stuff, man. I'm like one of the only Southerners that probably knows what that even is.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's a good, you know, I feel like it's from a generation ago where, you know, people aren't playing cards as much as a family anymore. But I think I got to go with books. I think books/audiobooks is the way to go.
So wait, did you guys both go books?
I think we both did, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
All right, I'm going to throw out playing cards, but audiobooks would be up there, but I usually only do that when I'm like in the car, so I'm staying at home, I'm playing some cards, but books moves on. Number 3 seed Disney Plus versus 14 seed Staring Out the Window. Chamber, go.
It's Disney Plus. I mean, Disney Plus has 30 seasons of The Simpsons, plus a new show that I've been watching that I recommend if you do have Disney Plus called Gravity Falls. Fantastic little show you can watch with the kids, and it's very entertaining if you're an adult or a quasi-adult like me. So Disney Plus.
Ledge?
I have not watched a single adult thing on Disney Plus, but it is always on during TV time for my kids, and it is a great way to distract them so that I can do things like podcast with you guys. So the utility of Disney Plus is
that's
fantastic.
a great utility for Disney Plus. A utility that I don't need. So I love a good stare out the window.
So you're anti walk alone. Pro
yeah,
stare out the
I'm
window.
avoiding outside. I'm
You
avoiding
stare out
outside.
the window at me walking alone.
Yes, 100%. I'd be like, the fuck's that guy doing outside? Didn't he see the news? All right. So Disney Plus moves on. Number 7 seed video games versus 10 seed board games and puzzles. Ledger, you start.
Can't remember the last time I played a video game. I do puzzles with my kids a lot, and board games I've always enjoyed. I get really competitive. I would probably get too addicted to video games, so I better not start, and I'll go with board games and puzzles.
All right, Chamber. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna make this interesting. I'm gonna make it because I'm going with video games. The last time I played a video game before literally Monday was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
And I was like, It was Red Dead Redemption when that came out. And then I was like, well, I'm going to be hanging around alone a lot, so I'm going to get this video game. So I did that. And then my wife got laid off the next day, and I've picked it up once since. So that's it. But I'm going to go video games.
Big boomer comment here, though. My last video game is probably Halo 1 in like 2004.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, classic game to be your last.
Oh, yeah. We had
and
LAN
Chamber's probably the
networks in our
same
dorm.
way.
I want to say
Yes, the LAN parties.
it's the exact same thing. I believe my last system was like the original Xbox, which I think Halo was on. I definitely had Halo. I haven't owned a system since like 2002 or 2003, I want to say. But do like iPad games count? As video games?
I would say you would have to give those up. Yes.
Board games or puzzles. I do like a good board game.
I feel like you cheat at board games.
Well, it's not cheating if you don't get caught. First of all, what I tell my kids. It's you gotta make your you gotta get your angles where you can. But yes, I definitely I cheat at cards and I cheat at board games for sure.
By the way, speaking of, I saw a commercial the other day for a Monopoly game that rewards cheating.
Yeah. As it should. Everybody cheats in real life. I don't understand why we're telling our kids not to cheat. We should be teaching them how to cheat properly.
So, all right, what are you going with?
I gotta go board games, I think.
All right, wow.
I'll give up.
Okay.
I like
Upset.
I know. I think most people would go video games, though.
Well, we got 2-1 here, so
Yeah.
it
You got a
moves
couple
on.
of contrarians here.
Number 2 seed Hulu versus number 15 seed Using Your Imagination. great one. This is a great matchup. I'm going to give it to Ledger.
I can't think of anything good on Hulu, so that's the only one where we borrow someone else's login because I'm like, I'm not paying for that crap. But the only reason we go there is something random, like network TV stuff. So I'm going using your imagination as my preference to keep.
Chamber?
I think you should go first, Bunch.
Oh, I don't know. You want me to?
Because
So listen, I used to be a big Hulu guy, and the problem now is it's the only place I can watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But I gotta tell you, Chamber, I don't even pay for Hulu anymore.
Really?
Yeah, so
you just memorized every line.
Correct.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Correct. In which case that requires me to use my imagination.
That's a fair point.
So we are going using your imagination, getting the 15-2 upset.
And,
what would you have picked?
Well, I can't pick Hulu because you cannot get Hulu in Canada.
Oh shit! So we got we swept the board on the 15th.
Using your imagination is the winner.
Wait for the very exciting 10-15 matchup in the second round. All right, next round: Netflix versus Twitter. Wow, tough. I'll let Chamber go first because Chamber picked both of these.
I'm going to go, you know what? I've been a little sour on Netflix as a rule. I feel their content hasn't been as good as some of the other streaming services.
What do you mean? Love is Blind was great.
Not my cup of tea. I got to go Twitter. I'm going Twitter on this one.
Ledger?
Now that I've given up napping and we adopted Twitter, I will go all in on the Twitter addiction, which I definitely typically am on Twitter whilst Netflixing. So
same, yeah. I think in a quarantine type situation with my spouse, I would not survive without Netflix. We have very similar tastes in shows, so we do a lot of binge watching when we're home together. So I would have gone Netflix, but Twitter is moving on. So the number 5 seed cable television versus 4 seed Instagram. Ledger, you start.
I'm still going to stick with Instagram. I'm quarantined, so I want to keep up with the fam, and hopefully they'll still be posting.
Yeah, that's a nice way to social distance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Chamber?
I just want a regular distance. Therefore, not talk to any of my family at all. I don't wish them any particular harm, but I'm okay either way. I'm going with cable television and which includes HBO, by the way. I'm
correct.
Yeah.
I think that normally it would be cable TV no brainer, but the problem is there's no sports, so my need for cable TV has gone down a lot. However, Instagram's probably the least form of social media that I use over. So I think I'm going cable TV because I would want to keep up with the news as much as possible from outside my bubble that is Twitter. So my echo chamber. All right, so we're going cable TV. Moving on, we got books versus Disney Plus.
Ooh,
Ledger.
I gotta go books, guys. I mean,
books.
Golly, there's so many good books, and it's just an endless array. Like your Kindle is just like this gigantic forever library, thanks to the internet.
All right,
he's definitely not wrong. I'm going books too.
All right. Look, since I've never used or had Disney Plus, I will also go books.
I thought you were going to say since I've never used or had books.
Since I've never used or read a book, since I can't read or write, Disney Plus for me. All right. And then the greatest matchup, I think, in the history of all of these kinds of brackets. Number 10, board games and puzzles versus 15, using your imagination. Let's start with Chamber.
You know what? I'm going 15. I think I'm going using my imagination over board games and puzzles.
Ledger?
People underestimate the power of your imagination. I mean, what if I just told you no more dreams ever, right?
Right.
That's just a form of your imagination. So I'm in on imagination. Let's go for the 15 seed.
Clean sweep, 15 seed.
Cinderella story. Here it comes.
All right. We got Netflix number 1 seed versus,
Twitter?
What do we got? No, wait, sorry. We got Twitter number 9, right? Versus
Yes.
cable television number 5.
I'm going. Is me? I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go Twitter over cable TV.
I feel like Ledger's also going to go that way.
Yeah, I'm in on Twitter.
I think I'll take Twitter over cable TV. So Twitter is in the Elite 8. Then we got books versus using your imagination. Ledger.
I feel like this is tough because it's one of those dependency scenarios where when you are reading a book, you are using your imagination, and
Correct.
it defeats the purpose of the book.
But if you had no imagination, the book would suck.
Like the book kind of sucks. So 15 seed it is, using your imagination.
In a stunning upset, unbelievable matchup using your imagination versus books, because yes, one does defeat the other, and one you cannot use without the other. So yeah, I'm going imagination as well.
Sweep it. Imagination. Wow. Moving on. Now, here is the matchup to end all matchups. Twitter versus using your imagination. Ledger, what do you got?
You know what? Screw it. Use your imagination all the way. You take away my imagination, and I'm friggin' quarantined with nothing else to think about.
All right, I'll make it interesting. I'm going Twitter over using my imagination. Chamber, let's leave it to you. How much vanity do you have?
I have so much vanity. But the same issue arises.
Hold on. Chamber, can I just clarify one more thing? You got like 1 like on y'all's tweets of the week last time, remember?
Listen.
You don't get your satisfaction from Twitter.
No.
Oh, he's trying to hard sell you on imagination.
I am sorry.
First of all, I need my imagination to make my fire tweets.
Yes.
Like my nonstop fire tweets. So I think I'm going to have to go imagination.
Stop it. Did imagination make the final 4?
I think it has to, because it is such a predicate on everything else that I do.
Wow. All right. So the final 4 matchup out of the entertainment bracket, we have using your imagination versus the cleaning and personal hygiene bracket, which has toilet paper. Chamber, go ahead.
You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I think if you have an imagination, you can find ulterior devices to wipe your bum after an evacuation. So I think I have to go imagination. I think imagination is pumping, and you'd better hop on board.
This is the top on using your imagination, by the way. Ledger, what are you going with?
Well, Blue Apron went from like $2 to $19.
I saw that.
All this stuff, and
today?
Yeah, over the past like 3 or 4 days. So if Blue Apron, which is basically a completely insolvent company, can 5X, then Use Your Imagination can make the finals of Corona Madness.
Who would have
if
thought?
Blue Apron can do it, you can too. Imagination. Moving on to the championship. The other half of this final 4 is Human Contact as a 3 seed versus Coffee. Ledger, what's more important to you?
This is like the hardest conversation I've ever had. I love coffee. I really do. But I have to say, the minimal amount of available human contact whilst secluded to our immediate families is more important to me. So I'm going human contact.
Chamber?
I'm with them. I think human contact. Human contact was the imagination of last episode. And I think it's I think it's got to take coffee as well. I think human contact over coffee.
Wow. I mean I don't even need to vote. It's human contact.
What would you
really
have voted?
Upset about where this bracket went.
I think I'm using my imagination to think of all the places this has gone terribly wrong. I think I might have picked human contact too over coffee, right? All right. So the championship is in the most emotional championship matchup ever. We have
Corked Bats did not see this one coming.
No, Corked Bats is going to be very upset with the outcome of this. Human contact versus using your imagination. Chamber, you're up first.
What a matchup is all I have to say. I think, unfortunately, the Butler didn't do it. And I think this is where the historic imagination train stops. And I think, for me, it's human contact over using my imagination.
Ledger?
I think imagining human contact is really where it breaks down a little bit.
Yeah, right. That's true. Everything else, the imagination worked first. And then when you imagine human contact, you could just be doing that thing.
Right.
Yeah. And so with a massive caffeine headache from not having coffee,
Right.
I am going with human contact.
I would go human contact too, but my vote didn't matter. The back half of this bracket, my vote mattered none. You guys were in lockstep. That is it. So human contact is your coronavirus survival madness champion for the REKT podcast team. What are your thoughts, Chamber?
I got to tell you, when I looked at the list the other day when you showed it to me, I did not see these two going head-to-head in the finals. A complete Cinderella story on both sides of this bracket. It's very impressive.
Using your imagination will have to regroup next recruiting year and see if they could come back stronger, maybe get a better seed. But they fought a valiant fight. But mostly, I think this was more entertaining because we had 3 people doing this back end. So thank you, Ledger, for being our in some terms and sometimes tiebreaker vote. But it was definitely made more fun with 3 people. So appreciate you coming on, spending quite a long time with us today.
This is the longest podcast we've done in a while.
Probably, maybe ever. But
I cannot believe my kids napped this whole time. They eventually fell asleep. So I'm grateful for this time with you guys.
You guys dumped napping in the first round. Actually, no. Ledger chose napping.
Nobody's going to wake him up with some human contact and give him big hugs and kisses when they wake up.
That's right.
Oh, man. All right. That's going to do it for us. Check out Ledger on LedgerCast. Check him out on his new podcast, Tulips FM. Where else can they find you, Ledger?
Just on Twitter, at Ledger Status. Everything else will come from there. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate y'all. And listen to every episode of your podcast.
Thank you.
It's a good blend of the crypto and the personal.
Thank you. And human contact.
And a lot of human contact. Imaginary human contact.
We imagine there's other listeners out there as well. But thank you. Who said quarantine wasn't fun? So until next time, don't get wrecked, which I think is very good financial advice. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. You can help support us by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and become a REKT patron by signing up for a monthly tier on patreon.com. That's patreon.com/REKT podcast. Don't get wrecked.